Hey guys, so this is What If Deku was Spider-Man Part 3. Now this is long waited because Part 2 came out I think 2 months ago. So yeah, so that's a pretty long time, but you know, 2 months isn't really a long time for my What If, my sequels to come out. So after this video, I mainly will be mostly just doing Part 2s, Part 3s, and Part 4s, and not be doing new What Ifs, but I will be doing a couple new What Ifs because you guys always know that your ideas of a what if are always accepted into my, channel. So yeah, let's get into it and let's start. So guys, this is What If Deku had Spider-Man's powers part 3. So I last left off for Deku did a little bit of vigilante work in his new Scarlet Spider suit, basically coming across Dr. Octopus and another villain. I think it was Shocker or somebody. It was some other villain. So basically, you know, Spidey or, what you call it, Deku pretty much gets out of the burning building after, him fighting the villains and finding out that they had some sort of goop, aka is going to be Venom in the future. Basically, going on and basically just, looking around the city and, well, going back to his house and going back to school the next day, pretty much keeping low on the whole entire vigilante thing. Now basically, when Deku becomes a real hero, they are gonna be 2 together, and Deku is going to be found out to be the vigilante Spider-Man. But since he's gonna have his hero, license as he grows up, he's probably gonna be able to do vigilante work, but he's just gonna be okay. So basically, Deku goes to school and walks into class 1A. Basically, passing by everybody and sitting in class and sitting down. Daku gets ready and pretty much goes into class 1A, sits down, and basically everybody, is basically getting ready. Everybody gets told by Izao that they're going to the USJ to do some training. They get ready and they get on the bus and they get into their hero costumes. Deku gets to do his hero costume. And basically gets ready and started. Now basically Deku gets ready, everybody, looking at Deku's hero costume, seeing that it's really cool. But seeing that it has the same eye or same design as the vigilante Scarlet Spider, basically Deku just ignoring it and them getting ready for the USJ. They get ready and basically everybody goes into, the USJ and meets up with the number, I think, what was it? Number 13, so yeah. Basically Deku gets ready and they get started. Now basically Deku walks in there, they get the same speech from 13, but then the villains show up, but they show up with a couple other villains, aka some Spider-Man villains. They show up with, They show up Shocker, actually. They show up with Dr. Octopus leading the group alongside Shigaraki, and they also show up with a Nomu. But the Nomu's a little bit different. The goop was actually captured by, Dr. Ock. But also, some of the goop was given to the League of Villains, and they fused it with the Nomu, knowing that the ooze, they didn't know the ooze was actually human, but the ooze actually was strong enough or capable enough to take over completely of the Nomu, because the Nomu had no, real consciousness or real intellect to fight back. So basically, the Venom pretty much showed up in his classic giant bulky form, basically having a snout having a beak just with, teeth coming out of it. Now basically, the Nomu starts fighting, All Might after everybody else is teleported away, including Deku, and Deku, swinging around near the water area, taking down villains from the sky or from the, ledges, webbing them down into the water, basically grabbing and swinging Mineta and, Froppy around. Basically, Deku gets to the Nomu, and basically seeing the Nomu have some sort of goop around it, pretty much seeing that the Nomu feels similar to what he encountered last night, aka doing his, vigilante thing. Deku starts fighting more and swings down onto the Nomu, starting to punch it in the face. It doesn't do anything because the Nomu has incredible power and basically grabs Deku by the head and chucks him into the floor, grabbing Deku by the leg and chucking him around like Hulk did Loki in Avengers. Basically just, pretty much just slamming the absolute soul out of Deku, almost killing Deku. Basically, Deku almost giving up, actually, but getting up his, high ground, basically, pretty much kicking up forwards, taking the Nomu with his leg, throwing the Nomu back into the air about 2 feet. Deku pretty much passed out, using a lot of his strength just to push the Nomu off the ground. Basically, All Might takes this opportunity to do a Detroit smash into the Nomu's chest, obliterating the Nomu and the sludge. The sludge is pretty much obliterated into tiny pieces, but one piece of it falls down and pretty much sneaks on top of Deku, or sneaks into Deku's, suit. Deku gets up, and basically, the rest of the heroes, including Mirako, shows up, and basically Mirako helps up Deku, and says, "Are you okay, kid?" And Deku says, "Yeah." And basically, looking at, Mirako, and Mirako looking at Deku, and basically them having a moment. But they end that quickly, and basically, Deku, gets told by All Might, "Are you okay?" And All Might Deku says, "Yeah." And basically, they move on to, everybody goes back home, getting a couple days off, and going to the medical bay, and Deku basically getting some stitches, because he got hit pretty hard. Now we move on to Deku's vigilante side of the story. Now, basically, after the couple of days Deku gets off, Deku goes on a full-on vigilante spring, going out during the day in his Scarlet Spider suit. But Deku modifies his vigilante suit more, actually, basically taking his pretty much black and red new Scarlet Spider suit design and merging it with his classic first appearance Scarlet Spider with the, pretty much, Deku's vigilante suit. His first vigilante suit was more modified one with the blue jacket and red jumpsuit. Basically, mixing those together to make a more sleeker design of that outfit with the hood and the blue knuckles. I mean, the red knuckles and the blue fingers. Basically, Deku takes up this outfit, seeing that it looks a lot more better, and also seeing that it's not as durable as his hero costume suit that he wears to school, but it's good enough, and it also works pretty well doing doing some vigilante work. Deku goes out on the streets at night, basically going out at night on the night of, the USJ attack, basically being, healed enough to go on some patrol. Deku stopping some muggeries, and also Deku stopping a bank robbery caused by the, Shocker, actually. Deku's confused by this, but basically just takes on the Shocker pretty quickly, webbing him up against the wall and pretty much knocking him out with one punch, taking off his, gloves off of Shocker, and pretty much letting Shocker get arrested by the police, webbing up the rest of his goons like this, and swinging out of the way like this in the picture. Now, basically, Deku swings around the city, and basically comes across another one of his villains, or one of his new villains, basically seeing a man in some sort of, a leather print outfit. Deku yells at him and says, "Hey, what you doing?" Basically, the man looks at Deku and says, you're the Spider-Man, right?" Deku says, no, I'm the Scarlet Spider." "Yeah, Scarlet Spider. So you're one of the... I have a bounty on your head for $5 million. Deku says, "That's a lot of money, but I don't think you're gonna get that money." Basically, Deku smirking under the mask, and the man saying, "You can smile all you want, or you can laugh all you want. I'm going to kill you, and there's nothing you can do." And basically, he takes out his staff and says, "Let's start." And Deku says, "Whatever." And basically, they start fighting. Deku starts swinging out of the way, punching the man in the chest left and right. The man starts dodging, and most of Deku's attacks, Deku being confused because no one's been able to dodge his attacks so proficiently. Basically, Deku gets grabbed one time at the shoulder by the man, and the man dropkicks Deku into a wall, knocking him out. At this point, Deku found the man at the docks, so they were fighting near water. The man grabs Deku and throws him into the water, basically putting a weight on Deku's foot, making Deku fall down to the bottom of the pretty much docks. Deku trying to get out the water, seeing that it's some sort of shark coming towards him, and Deku trying to rip the weight off of him. Deku sees the shark coming closer, but Deku uses a lot of his strength to rip the weight off, grabbing the weight and chucking it into the shark's face, knocking the shark's face clean off, killing it. Deku swims up to the surface, webbing his, pretty much flipping a web on top of Kraven the Hunter, aka, if you don't know the man I was describing, Kraven the Hunter's face, and swinging up on top of him, grabbing him by the chest, and pretty much knocking him out with one punch. Seemingly, he pretty much Deku walks off, coughing up some water, by getting grabbed by Kraven the Hunter on the wrist, and getting chucked into one of the boats. And Deku getting back up, and pretty much getting cornered on a dock, pretty much on the docks, bridge, basically being pummeled into the bridge, into the wood by, Kraven Hunter, and Kraven Hunter taking out a knife, about to gut Deku. Deku looks at Kraven Hunter and grabs a knife from his hand and stabs Kraven Hunter into the chest, pretty much, not trying to hit any vital organs, not trying to kill him. Deku grabs Kraven Hunter by the chest and chucks him into the air, and pretty much the Kraven Hunter falls onto the ground and starts bleeding out. Deku sees this, and basically, I did mention this in the beginning, Deku did have another part of him that hated pretty much villains, because, villains killed his father, or I think his uncle. No, his father died, and then he moved in with his uncle, aka Inko, and, Asashi. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Asashi died, yes, Asashi died. Pretty much Deku walks over to the man, pushing the knife out of the man's chest, and flipping him towards the hospital, pretty much saying that he's a villain, but I did do a little bit too much work on him. Deku pretty much leaving him at the front of the hospital, and him flipping off, pretty much saying, "This is no from Spider-Man, a villain, but you had to save him." Pretty much swinging around and seeing the police and the medical or the pretty much doctors show up and grab, Kraven the Hunter and put him on a pretty much, a stripper, or a cart, or I don't even know what those things are called, but pretty much they wagon him, or pretty much pull him back into the hospital, saving his life, and Deku flipping off into the sunset, or into the town, basically flipping around and seeing, going around the city, basically pretty much running paths across Miracle. And Miracle giving a task to try to find the Spider-Man, or the Scarlet Spider. That's the name Deku goes, or takes on when he's a vigilante. Deku, swings around and pretty much comes across Miracle, and Miracle sees Deku. Deku knows Miracle, but also Deku has some feelings for Miracle. Deku sees this, basically gets back up, pretty much looking at Miracle, because Deku did do that iconic Spider-Man landing on the roof Miracle was at. And Miracle sees, Deku, or what she sees, Scarlet Spider, and pretty much she looks at Scarlet Spider and says, "I have to arrest you now, sorry." And pretty much Deku says, "I don't think you know who I am. I'm the Scarlet Spider, and most heroes don't want to arrest me." Miracle says, "I'm not most heroes." Basically, them looking at each other, and pretty much Miracle says, "You're coming with me one way or another." And Deku says, "You could try." And pretty much they start fighting. Deku gets a hold of Miracle, winning the fight, but Miracle goes under Deku, or pretty much slips under Deku, grabbing Deku by the neck, and pretty much drop kicking him into the ground. Pretty much Miracle taking out Deku and winning the fight, but them grabbing each other and pretty much having face-to-face contact as they're fighting. Now, we skip about a couple of hours later, after their fight, and how the fight ended, and pretty much Miracle saying that was fun, and pretty much Deku saying, "Yeah." And pretty much, if you don't know what happened, you're not old enough, but something happened, and, something happened between them, and let's just say that she knows Deku's identity now. Basically, Deku getting up and saying, "So, when are we gonna do this next time?" Pretty much she says, "I'll see you at UA sometimes," and pretty much walks out of the room, and Daku pretty much putting back on his outfit, going back into Vigilante. We're going back into the city, swinging around, and basically coming across a couple other pro heroes, teaming up with them, and taking down some villains. Now, I'm going to leave it off here, guys, and if you guys enjoy the video, if you guys like and subscribe, and, well, have a blessed day, everybody.